Well, this next piece of Zero is very close to my heart. It's another trip down memory lane. Back in 1987, we shot a wonderful interview with Joe Garbarino, who at that time was running one of the largest recycling programs in the United States. Joe has a wonderful sense of humor. In fact, he's provided the best definition of waste I've ever heard, which is a busload of consultants going over the Niagara Falls with 3 empty seats in it. We could have got rid of 3 more of those rascals. There are some good consultants out there. Anyway, in this videotape, we're going to hear Joe talk about his piggies. Joe, you found a loaf of bread in the garbage one day when you were sorting it through, when you were making measurements for volume and so on. What was your response to finding a loaf of bread in the garbage?
It wasn't a loaf. It was a constant 50, 100, 200 loaves a day. And as soon as I saw that bread on a daily basis, as I was monitoring the trash because of the study that I was making, it was just insanity. It was a mortal sin to me to waste a slice, let alone a loaf. I went out immediately and bought 3 pigs. 3 months later, I asked the city manager how much trouble I can get into the city and still get into heaven. And he says, Joe, what did you do now? I said, I didn't do anything, but I says, I'd like to raise a few pigs as a recycling project, you know. And he said, you got to be kidding me. It was Christmas time, and I was bringing him a couple of bottles of wine, and he says, Joe, do me a favor, make believe you didn't talk to me. I says, okay. And in the meantime, he's now in San Jose as city manager, and I've told everybody that the city manager gave him the approval, and it took him 3 years to find out that I had about 30 pigs down here. So we've just gotten our permit now, and kids come down to tour the recycling center. They come down, they feed the animals, they feed the duckies, the chickies, and they bring hay home once in a while. And we're recycling 200-300 loaves of bread. We're recycling these donuts. There's nothing wrong with these donuts right here. You know, you can eat these donuts yourself. Matter of fact, I eat them now. There's nothing wrong with these donuts. I bought some donuts in Norway last week here that were 10 times more stale than this donut. So my piggies love this, and so do I. So anyway, it's just criminal to waste all this bread over here. And that's why some people think I'm crazy, just a few of them. But like I said, when you soak this in bread, there are many, many millions of people throughout the well, not the United States, but probably the United States and the world that don't have a loaf of bread tonight. Yeah. And yet, at least my conscience is clear because it's no longer going to the landfill. It's coming and delivered here. I mix it with that milk. My pigs and animals eat it. And I'm recycling another project here. I'm recycling more food in a different way, just like I recycle that wood.
And you've got some very special pigs here, I understand.
I have the state champion Yorkshire hog or pig or whatever you want to call it, that was raised by someone down in the valley here in Turlock. And each year there are 30 of us that belong to the Pig Lovers of America, all garbage men. And for the fun of it, and of course to keep the program going with 4-H, we'll raise enough money that we won't let anyone outbid us on the Grand Champion hog at the Cow Palace every year. So last year we spent $2,200 for the champion, and this year it was $3,000. But we have a lot of fun doing it. We've helped the 4-H club keep that thing going. They've made more money off of these pigs now than they ever have. And I hope to raise $10,000 and buy more pigs and more animals.
Now you have a wild pig here too.
And we also have a wild pig that was picked up. Evidently someone must have shot the mother, and they brought it into me. It was 2 days old, and we were bottle feeding it every day. So that pig is just as domestic as the rest of them. And I hope to crossbreed the wild pig with the domestic pigs and now go backwards in evolution and hope to tame the rest of them as they come down the road. But in the meantime, it's a fun project. Gets your mind off the problems and that we all have in solid waste. And feeding animals and taking care of them is like a tranquilizer for me. I don't drink beer, wine, or whiskey, or beer, or any of that. But I certainly enjoy coming over here and talking to the piggies once in a while and tell them about all my problems. And the only answer that I get is, you know, and I can tell that these piggies love me. They appreciate it, and I can hear them say, Joe, thank you. I really appreciate this loaf of bread. And when you look at those long eyelashes, as I do every day, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's not funny. It's the truth. We truly enjoy doing this. I love coming to work.
Yeah.
And I'm always looking for a different way to do something that's that no one else is doing.
Yeah.
And it really isn't. There's no magic here.
Yeah.
You've got to find something that you can do something with, and then execute it, and then move it on. And I saw all this wood being buried, you know, and I figured I'd start out with some firewood for my house. Then I had 5 cords, 10 cords, 500 cords, and now I'm selling firewood. I sell 2,000 or 3,000 cords of firewood each year.
Just give me a list of all the things that you are managing to get out of that waste stream, preventing it going from a landfill.
You know, you start here with bottles, cans, newspapers, and PET bottles. And, of course, we buy back aluminum and brass and copper. And then in the dump itself, we take out all the brush, all the wood, and we grind that up, sell it for fuel. We shake it on a screen, and then we take out the fines so they don't escape into the atmosphere. So we have a clean burn, and we sell the sawdust and sand to the nursery people. They make plants from it. And, of course, on the other side, we sell textiles, rags, and we sell bottles, cans, again, in paper, cardboard, again, wood we pick out. And we pick out toasters, we pick out waffle irons, anything made out of metal, tin and iron, we take it all out, copper and brass. So getting back to this end of it, then we take the logs out, and rather than grind them up and just make sawdust out of them at $25 or $26 a ton, I'm selling these now by the cord and getting about $120 per cord of firewood. So when I'm not doing bottles, cans, and we've got a lapse in time, I'll shift 2 or 3 men over here and we'll split wood for a while. And it all started out as a lark, and so did the chickens, and I'm not buying eggs anymore. I get 30 eggs a day, and they're fresh. We're donating pigs to St. Vincent de Paul, which is an agency that's feeding the poor people. And it's the joy of doing it. It might be trash and garbage to somebody else, but it's a way of life. Always has been for me and my father and his colleagues before him. We're just doing it in a better way now, and there is a better way.
Yeah.
And the better way is to do what we did 30, 40 years ago, recycle.
Yeah.
And pick out the materials. We used to sell eyeglasses, 10, 15 cents each. You came into a counter, you put your eyes, and if you can see what you could see, you bought it. We sold bones, all on the garbage truck as we went from house to house in San Francisco. And there was a market for all that. And there still is a market, but we need a better market, and we need help getting that market going. But it can be done without a doubt, and I'm doing it. It certainly beats burning it and breathing fumes. This wind that we've got now, I wouldn't want to be breathing that plastic that they're burning and the problems that it's causing. And certainly there's an ash problem there that's full of lead and other contaminants, and you'd have to take that to a Class 1 dump. So they haven't solved that problem. It's not the quick fix that they think it is. They're going to pay for that in the future. Yeah. What we should be doing now is a sensible thing, and that's to recycle as much as you can, reduce the waste by 40 and 50%, and that can be done with the technology that's available today.
Can we change the politicians?
Yeah, they're going to change because the pressure is on them now. You've seen that barge heading for thousands of miles for 60 days. That's brought it to their attention now. And when that stuff starts to be brought to their capitals, to their city halls, they're going to have to sit down and legislate and say, hey, if you can't make an item that can be recycled, you can't make that anymore. They're making billions of plastic bags here. Not one, but billions. Eliminate the plastic, substitute it for paper, and that's all more recycle markets for us. Because we do need the markets. They fluctuate horribly. And but I'm not worried about whether the price of paper goes up or down. The cost of the removal of garbage today certainly makes it worthwhile to recycle today.
The avoided disposal
That's
cost.
right. That's where it's at.
A tiny 5% of the people in the world consume 1/3 of its resources and produce almost half the non-organic waste. Those people are us.